I never thought the person who would destroy my life would be the same man who stood beside me at my wedding, held my newborn daughter in his arms, and called me his brother for 30 years. But there I was, sitting in a courtroom, staring at my best friend as he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Yes, that's exactly what happened." Every word he spoke was a lie. And in that moment, I realized I had lost far more than a lawsuit. I had lost the only person outside my family I had ever truly trusted. What none of them knew was that their betrayal had already planted the seeds of their own downfall. Growing up, I was always the responsible one. My younger brother Ryan was the golden child. If he broke something, my parents blamed me for leaving it within reach. If he failed a class, they said I should have helped him study. Meanwhile, I worked after school, earned scholarships, and built a successful construction company from nothing. Still, it was never enough. "You're older," my mom would always say. "You have responsibilities." Ryan had excuses. I had obligations. The only person who ever seemed to understand me was Daniel. We met when we were 12 years old. We played baseball together, survived terrible first jobs together, and celebrated every milestone together. My parents even joked that Daniel was the son they wished they had. I laughed back then. Now I know they weren't joking. As my company grew, Ryan bounced between failed businesses. Every few months, he'd appear at my office. "Just one more loan," he'd say. "This one will work." It never did. Over 15 years, I gave him more than $200,000. My wife warned me countless times. "They're using you." "Their family," I answered. She sighed every time. One Sunday, my parents invited everyone for dinner. I thought it was just another family gathering. Instead, it became the beginning of my nightmare. Dad cleared his throat. "Ryan's company is about to collapse." I looked at Ryan. He wouldn't even meet my eyes. Mom smiled sweetly. "We've been talking." That sentence always terrified me. "We think you should transfer your company into Ryan's name." I nearly laughed. "What?" Dad folded his arms. "He's struggling. You already know how to build a business. You can always start another." I stared around the table. Nobody looked shocked. Not even Daniel. He quietly sipped his coffee. "You can't be serious." Mom frowned. "Why are you always so selfish?" Selfish? The word hit harder than I expected. I spent 20 years building this company. And Ryan deserves a chance. He had dozens of chances. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "So you're saying no?" "Absolutely." The room went silent. When I left, Ryan shouted after me, "You'll regret this." I thought he was angry. I had no idea he was making a promise. 3 weeks later, I was served with legal papers. Ryan claimed that years earlier we had verbally agreed to build the company together and that I had cheated him out of his share. The accusation was ridiculous. There wasn't a single document supporting his story. I wasn't worried until I saw the witness list. Daniel. I called him immediately. "There has to be a mistake." He hesitated. "I'm sorry." "Sorry for what?" "I have to testify." My stomach dropped. "You know it's a lie." "It's complicated." "No, it isn't." Silence. Then he whispered, "I don't have a choice." He hung up. For days I couldn't sleep. My wife kept asking the same question. What could they possibly have over him? I didn't know. Court day arrived. Ryan looked confident. My parents smiled at him proudly. Then Daniel walked to the witness stand. The judge asked if he swore to tell the truth. "I do." Then he lied. He claimed he had personally witnessed Ryan helping me create the company. He claimed I promised to split ownership equally. He claimed I betrayed my own brother. Every sentence felt like another knife in my back. My parents watched with satisfaction. Ryan smirked. I thought I had lost everything. Then something happened that changed the entire case. During a lunch break, an older woman approached me outside the courthouses. She introduced herself as Daniel's ex-wife.
I know why he lied.
I froze. She handed me a folder. My son found these while cleaning out the attic. Inside were emails, bank transfers, and signed agreements. My hands shook. Ryan had secretly paid Daniel over $300,000 during the previous 2 years. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. One email read,
Once Mark loses the company, we'll make Daniel vice president, like we promised.
Another message from my mother stunned me even more. After this is over, Mark will finally learn he isn't better than Ryan. My own mother had been coordinating everything. Daniel's ex-wife looked at me sadly.
I couldn't live with myself if I stayed silent.
The next morning, my attorney smiled for the first time. I think we just won. When Daniel returned to the witness stand, my lawyer calmly placed the documents in front of him.
Can you explain these payments?
Daniel's face turned pale. They're unrelated.
Really?
He held up another email. Is this your email address?
Yes.
And did you write, I'll testify exactly the way Ryan wants? The courtroom became so quiet I could hear people breathing. Daniel couldn't answer. My attorney continued. Were you paid to commit perjury? Ryan suddenly stood up.
Objection.
The judge silenced him immediately. Within minutes, Daniel broke. I'm sorry. He buried his face in his hands. I'm so sorry. He admitted everything. Ryan had promised him money to cover gambling debts. My parents encouraged it. They believed I didn't deserve the company because I had always been successful while Ryan struggled. My mother actually started crying. My father stared at the floor. Neither denied it. The judge dismissed Ryan's claims and referred the perjury and fraud evidence for criminal investigation. News spread through our town faster than I expected. People who had admired my parents for decades suddenly learned the truth. Their church friends stopped defending them. Neighbors whispered whenever they walked outside. Ryan's reputation collapsed overnight. Daniel lost his professional license and publicly apologized, but there are some betrayals that no apology can erase. A month later, my parents showed up at my house. Mom cried before I even opened the door completely. Tori, what is it into in our families? Dad looked 20 years older. We just want our family back. I looked at them quietly. The day you asked me to hand over my life's work wasn't the day you lost me. They both nodded.
It was the day you decided I mattered less than Ryan.
Neither had an answer. I wished them well and gently closed the door. Not out of anger. Out of peace. A year later, my company had doubled in size. We expanded into 3 new cities. I hired dozens of employees and created scholarship programs for young people who reminded me of myself, hardworking kids who only needed someone to believe in them. As for Ryan, he eventually accepted a plea deal related to the fraud investigation. Daniel wrote me several letters asking for forgiveness. I never replied. Some chapters are meant to stay closed. Looking back, I realized something important. The courtroom wasn't where I lost my family. It was where I finally stopped pretending I had won. And strangely enough, that wasn't the ending of my story. It was the beginning of the life I should have been living all along.